Let's talk a little more about those 3D shapes. We're going to talk about some attributes with those 3D shapes. Attributes is just a fancy word for characteristics or things that make us know for sure that they are the shape we think they are. Because there's lots of different 3D shapes. There's a cube, a cone, a sphere, a rectangular prism. What makes them different? Why do they have different names? Just like you might have a different name than your brother because you guys have different attributes, right? One of you's a boy, one of you's a girl. One of you has blue eyes, one of you has brown eyes. Those are different attributes. Same with 3D shapes. We can look at the different attributes and use that information to help us determine which one is which. We talked a little bit about the cone in the last video. We talked about how this is a 3D shape because he has 3 dimensions to measure. Length, width, but he also has underneath here that we can measure. This distance between here and here is the height that we measure, okay? When we turn the cone to this side, we can see a very flat spot that we can call a face, okay? The face has a circle shape. All 3D shapes have faces. In fact, this circle face is completely flat, and it reminds me of this 2D shape. A circle. A flat circle, a flat circle. So this 2D shape is a circle, but he's got a circle face, just like this part of this 3D shape has a circle face. The face is the only part of the shape that we can, of this shape that we can set it. See how it can sit balanced, nice and neat? Can it sit right here on the length? No, it wobbles to and fro because it's rounded right there, right? It moves, it doesn't stay stable. Can we put it on the tip? No, we can't. The only place that it can stand is on its face. And this shape has a circle face, okay? When we talk about faces, they can help us determine which 3D shape we're talking about, okay? So this cone has a circle face, okay? Let's look at another 3D shape. Let's look at this shape. This is called, let's look at all parts of it, a rectangular prism. A rectangular prism, you can see, has that rectangular shape, right? If I look down on it, I would see this part, which is also rectangular. If I looked at the bottom, I would look at this part, which is also rectangular shape, okay? 2 short sides, 2 long sides. If I turned it this way and looked at this side, this view of it, I see a different shaped face. Rectangle face, square face. Turn it to the other end, square face. So if I was telling you about the attributes of the rectangular prism, I would say that it has 1, 2, 3 rectangular faces and 1, 2 square faces, okay? All of these faces are parts that we can set it down and it'll be stable. See how it sits nicely? We don't have to worry about it on any of those faces. They're all stable, okay? What we do know about a rectangular prism is that he's got different faces. They're not all the same, okay? Let's take a peek at this 3D shape, okay? This 3D shape, it has length, width, and height, okay? We can measure the height, okay? Let's see what its faces look like. Square, 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 square. All the faces are squares. So what I'm noticing is there's something about these that is common, okay? If I took this cube and I stretched him out, I would make a rectangular prism, but it would change the shape of this face. If I stretched him, pulled him this way, this face would no longer be square, it would turn into a rectangle face. If I turned him into rectangle face and I kept turning him, he would have the same faces as this rectangular prism. So a cube is really a fancy or special rectangular prism because he's just shortened so that all the faces are square, okay? So really these two are like cousins. They're related, okay? Let's look at another two shapes that are related. Okay, this time we're going to look at 2D shapes that are related. We're going to look at the square. Mrs. Reed didn't do such a good job on that one. Let's try again because we know the sides all have to be the same to be a square. That's about as close as I can get freehanding it. And let's look at the rectangle. This is making me think about what I just did with the cube and the rectangular prism. But this time I'm not using anything with height. I'm only talking about shapes that are flat on the surface, so I'm only talking about 2D shapes, the square and the rectangle. I'm noticing that the square might be related to the rectangle because he is special in that all his sides are the same. The rectangle, two of the sides are short and 2 of the sides are long. So a square is a special rectangle that has been shortened so all the sides are the same. Okay? So these two 2D shapes, the square and the rectangle are related, and these two 3D shapes, the cube and the rectangular prism, are also related. And we use their faces to help us figure that out.